move on to Forest?
Let's go on Forest. Grill me on Forest. Don't be too.
So, yeah, well, actually, you mentioned transfers just before we got into this. So, what have Forest been doing? I saw that you signed a guy called Andre Santos today, and I was really worried for you guys that it was the same guy that we had 10 years ago. But thankfully, thankfully, it's not.
Yeah, no, I recognise the name as well. No, he's a young Brazilian, um, and like if you look on YouTube, then I don't tend to do that because you can make a League Two player look phenomenal on YouTube. Do you know what I mean? But he comes with quite a high sort of reputation. He's a Chelsea player. Chelsea signed him from Corinthians in Brazil. He's already got one cap for Brazil. He's kind of a physical central midfielder slash defensive midfielder, which on paper is kind of what we need, a bit of physicality and a bit of dynamism. But you just never know with these young sort of international players. Like they're either the next Vinicius Junior or they just can't do it in the Premier League. So I have absolutely no idea what to expect,
Yeah,
which in
it's quite
itself is kind of exciting.
it's quite exciting. I was going to say that. Yeah, he must have some talent, right? And I guess Chelsea are almost just seeing, right, you know, it's a good loan move for Chelsea because they'll see what he's made of in the Premier League as well.
Yeah. So there's two ways of looking at this. The positive way of looking at it is that Chelsea fancied him and Chelsea, they're going to have a half decent scouting team, but that's debatable given recent years. um, the negative, which tends to be annoyingly where I sit, and I need to get better at it, is that Pochettino obviously doesn't fancy him. They've signed an extra two players in his position.
Mm.
So he's like Andre Santos currently, if he stays at Chelsea, he's like sixth or seventh in their pecking order in that position.
Mm.
So if he was a prodigious talent and a phenomenal player, and if Pochettino really fancied that he could do it in the Premier League, then he wouldn't hand him to Nottingham Forest.
Mm.
Um, Having said that, we've got quite a few Brazilians at the club,
Oh.
which I think can help. And we've got Danilo, who plays a similar position. We've got Felipe at the back, who's kind of like a more experienced Brazilian. So it'd just be interesting to see what happens. He might not even get in the team. Who knows?
Mm. Mm.
But
Yeah,
yeah, should be interesting.
be interesting. Yeah, and I guess with when you're manager of Chelsea as well, the only thing is you can't. Sorry, going off a bit of a tangent here, but you can't really think. You're not really thinking long term, are you? You've got to think short term because you might be sacked in 6 or 7 games. So it might even not be that he rates him, but he might just think that he's not who he needs right now.
Yeah, that's valid as a point, but I don't think anyone in the Premier League can afford to think that long term.
Mm.
It's not like
Yeah,
we can afford to just plonk a inexperienced youth player in. If we
yeah,
want to
yeah.
push
Well, that's what.
on,
Yeah, well, I get the impression what you said is right. He probably won't start for you guys, right? It's just almost a bit of a shot in the dark, really, for you.
I don't know. You never know. Steve Cooper's got a special touch with young people, with young players. He won the World Cup with the under 20s. He's brought on Gibbs White. He's brought on Brennan Johnson. He brought in Danilo from Brazil. No Premier League experience at all, and he struggled a bit this season, but towards the back end of last season, he was phenomenal. So
Mm.
who knows? It could be a great signing, but we we have no idea. And I'm sorry, but I'm not going to go off YouTube. I'm just not going to do it.
Yeah.
It's plonk him in a game. He'll get a go and sink or swim.
Well, Chelsea
Basically,
bought didn't yeah didn't Mudryk cost 100 million just from YouTube essentially, didn't he?
see, yeah, and I've watched him play a few times, and he's done absolutely nothing. 100 million.
I know, I know.
I know.
Crazy.
Um, yeah, and we've also signed, I think, a bit more of a solid signing, Montiel from Sevilla or
Oh,
Sevilla.
I missed that. Yeah, yeah.
He won the World Cup with Argentina. He scored the winning penalty.
Oh, yes. Yeah, yeah. Oh, you've signed him. Interesting, interesting.
Yeah, but he wasn't getting a start for Sevilla.
Mm.
But he looks a decent fullback. He'll be there to compete with Aurier at right back. And there's also talk of Aurier going to Saudi Arabia.
Okay.
Like, there's talk of everyone going to Saudi Arabia. But
Yeah. There's
it
talk
looks
of
like a
us
solid.
doing this in Saudi Arabia, Pete.
What's that?
Yeah, there's talk of us doing this show in Saudi Arabia.
Oh, that'd be fucking great, wouldn't it? Um, no, yeah. Oh, you got me thinking. Then you distracted me. You got me
Sorry.
thinking of Ferraris and Lamborghinis. Um, no, yeah, yeah. No, he looks like a solid signing. It looks like a good signing. Again, though, no Premier League experience, so you just never know. It's more of a banker than Andre Santos, but any player that's never played in the Premier League before, you can't guarantee will be a success.
No, yeah, it's always interesting signing a World Cup winner, though, I guess, right? Although, having said that, the way that quite a lot of commentators say, like, World Cup winner, like that doesn't necessarily guarantee that much, does it? Because,
No,
yeah.
I find it strange that Emiliano Martinez is a World Cup winner.
Mm,
I'm not saying
yeah,
he's a bad player, but it's an example that not everyone's Lionel Messi,
yeah,
right?
exactly. Well, exactly. We used to have, do you remember the defender we had called Mustafi?
Yeah,
He was useless for us, and he was a World Cup winner. But hopefully Montiel will be better.
but he never played for Spain, did he? Mustafi?
No, Germany.
Oh, Germany. That's it, of
He
course.
was German. Yeah. I mean, he was a squad player for them, but he did get some caps.
Yeah, yeah,
Mm, yeah.
yeah. So, look, I don't listen to the people saying we signed a World Cup winner. It's just I think he's a specialist in that position. We needed numbers, we needed competition. He's got experience, so yeah, more of a banker than Andre Santos. And then finally, before we move on to Man United, it looks like we're signing another young Brazilian called Murillo.
Mm,
And if I'm honest, I haven't really had much of a chance to have a look at what he's about. But he's a centre back. He made 23 appearances for Corinthians
okay.
in the Brazilian A League. 21 years old. Looks like a bit of a unit. Probably one for the future. But it kind of feels like our scouting system are basically just like hoping if they sign enough young Brazilians, eventually they'll land on another Vinicius Junior or another Neymar.
Yeah.
1 in 5, maybe.
It's mad that you're tapping into that Brazilian market, isn't it? Yeah, I wonder what it is. Do you know why that's happening? Is there like any
Yeah, I can't remember the name of the scout we brought in, but he's got heavy ties to Brazil. Um, so yeah, I think we've got some links, and also I don't think it's a bad move. I think it's quite. I always quite think it's quite nifty to sort of think outside the box a little bit and
yeah,
move away from saturated markets, and you might get better value. Um, you know,
yeah,
because I think in Europe, Saudi Arabia have just inflated everyone. So
yeah,
if you can pick a young Brazilian up for 12 million, who in 2 or 3 seasons with some hard graft and good coaching can be sold for 50, 60. On paper that sounds great, but I guess we'll see. Time will tell.
yeah. Hopefully the next Gabriel Martinelli, maybe, who knows? But he only cost us 2 million in
See,
2019. So that was,
yeah,
yeah, similar kind of market. I think he was in like Brazilian fourth division, maybe something like that.
exactly that. And also Danilo, who we signed last season, I think you guys almost signed the season before, but you backed
Uh,
out.
okay.
Um,
Yeah.
so I think Arsenal have got you. You've got a few eyes in that market as well. I think,
But
and
yeah,
that
because we've got
probably links to Edu, right, as well.
Edu.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, and so yeah, I mean, on to the game then, I guess, Peter. Is that any more transfer news or?
Probably by the time we've finished this video, we've signed another 3 players. So those are the 3 I know about at the timing of this recording.
I see that you're selling a player who you bought from Bayern Munich last year, and then this player's completely passed me by. But do you know anything about him?
Yeah, well, we have to offload some. So we're selling Remo Freuler, I think.
Okay.
Swiss international. We got him from Atalanta last season. He started 31 games last season,
Oh,
but he just didn't quite click. And then towards the back end of last season, when he was dropped, we started winning.
right.
So Steve Cooper doesn't really fancy him. Omar Richards, we got from Bayern Munich as a really promising fullback.
Right.
Of the same generation as like Eze and Elise at Crystal Palace, that kind of generation of Southeast Londoners.
Oh, I
Um,
do know this guy. Yeah, sorry. Yeah,
yeah, really kind of exciting, and every Forest fan was really excited when we signed him because he's kind of like really dynamic, really quick.
yeah.
But he I think in his like second or third day training with us, he fractured his tibia.
Uh,
And it's just he was out all season. So for whatever reason, Steve Cooper hasn't. He's fit now.
mm,
Steve Cooper doesn't fancy risking him in the team, so we've loaned him to our sort of sister club, Olympiacos,
yeah,
which is really useful.
yeah, yeah.
Obviously, with our owner Marinakis owns Forest, Olympiacos, and Monza in Italy.
Oh, yeah, it's Monza as well. Okay, didn't
Yeah,
know
he acquired them. Yeah, in the summer, and I think it's quite handy to have that because you can just give players minutes in another league, and Olympiacos play European football,
that.
and if they do well, then you can just nab them back. It's quite simple. Like,
Yeah, 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 yeah. No, that's. Oh, I thought. Yeah, I think it's good that you guys are just loaning him, so just to sort of see how he gets on. Right?
yeah, he's 22, 23. It'd be sad to knowing our luck, we'd sell him and he'd fly. So
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah. Cool. So yeah, I mean, in terms of the game then, Pete, tomorrow. So you're at Old Trafford, aren't you? So yeah, I mean, how are you sort of like feeling about the game? I guess are you feeling confident, apprehensive, or
I'm not apprehensive. Not nowhere near as apprehensive as I was building up to Sheffield United. I didn't like the feeling of being favourites.
yeah,
I'm much more comfortable as underdogs. Also, uh, I don't know. I grew up in the 90s, and well, we did. So any game at Old Trafford is just a free hit in my mind. It's like you go there, if you get a result, great. If you don't, move on to the next. Um, but having said that, Man United have been all over the place, so far this season. So who knows? I'm really quietly confident we can get a result, but I would not be surprised if Man United tear us apart.
hmm. Yeah, yeah, yeah. um, yeah, I think with yeah, it's weird, isn't it, United? Because they were quite highly fancied really at the start of the season, but people were talking them up as potential like title challengers maybe.
Mm.
But the first two games, even the game they won, the first two games they've been shocking really. They've been really, really poor. So I guess I'm just wondering whether, will that continue or will there actually be a bit of a reaction to that potentially tomorrow? And might you kind of bear the brunt of it, if that makes sense? And, I guess they'll see it as a winnable game and a game maybe where they can start getting into their stride a bit.
They will. They'll be looking at it as right. This is a chance to get things going. It's only Nottingham Forest.
Mm,
Um, I think the things that concern me, right, is uh, I think they'll bring Ericsson back in the team,
right.
and I really rate Ericsson. I think he's a quality footballer.
Mm,
Mount's really struggled so far.
yeah.
I might be wrong. But I think Mount's either injured. Yeah,
I've got no.
someone's injured in their midfield. I need
Yeah.
to do research. Sorry, whoever's watching this. Sorry. So the direct replacement is Ericsson, and I don't like that. I'd rather play Mount than Ericsson. And last season when we played Man United, Ericsson and Fernandes just ripped us apart.
Right.
So uh, I'm slightly concerned about that. I think Ericsson will start, and he's a bit of a wand. He's got a bit of a in fact, both feet, they're both wands, aren't they? Um,
Mm,
and also Rashford so far has kind of struggled down the middle. Um,
Yeah.
So if they rejig it and put him back on the wing where he was on fire last season and put Martial down the middle, or he might persevere and they might flop again. I don't know. I'm just nowhere near as nervous. Nowhere near as nervous. The one thing I would say, and I'm not like a great analyst, I've just heard this on other podcasts, but apparently at Ten Hag this season, I think as his way of trying to progress the United team is they're trying to play a slightly higher pressing game, a bit like he did at Ajax. And if they do that, that plays into our hands because basically our forte is sit back and break on the counter. So it could play into our hands. It'd just be really interesting to see how it pans out.
Yeah, yeah. As you say, I guess I think they're going to have to make some changes, aren't they? The way that they played and lost last week, I think they will have to change some stuff. Just reading it says Luke Shaw's out as well for quite a few weeks. So
Yeah.
who just trying to think who you will have on that side potentially playing against their substitute left back.
You're testing my knowledge, yeah.
Will it be? Well, Gibbs White plays in the centre, doesn't he?
Yeah. Well, no, yeah. Oh, do you mean who we're attacking?
Who will play for you guys against them? Yeah.
Oh, yeah, Brennan Johnson.
Brennan Johnson, okay.
Yeah, but then again, I would have kind of fancied Brennan Johnson against Luke Shaw, only because Brennan Johnson is the fastest player in the Premier League, like statistically.
Right.
And Luke Shaw, as good as Luke Shaw is, and I love Luke Shaw, the one thing he kind of lacks is out and out pace.
Brennan Johnson's the fastest player in the Premier League, really?
He recorded the fastest speed, last season.
Wow, so you've got him, Alanga, Gibbs White. Wow, you've got a pacey squad.
That's what Steve Cooper does. That's how he sets his teams up, sort of absorb some pressure, break up your momentum, and punish you, basically. I don't know who they'll bring in. Would it be Dallo, if he's still there?
I don't know, to be honest. I was trying to... This might be really showing us up, but is Dallo still there?
I don't know.
This is why it's the... okay, yeah. So they're saying United predicted lineup has got Diogo Dallo starting tomorrow, yeah.
I'm really impressed with that.
Manchester Evening News. Well done, Pete. You got that, yeah.
Is Ericsson in the team?
Loading up. He is, yeah. He is.
With Fernandes and Casemiro?
With Fernandes, Casemiro. And they're going for Rashford on the wing. But in this team, they've got Jadon Sancho up front down the middle, which seems a bit out there, but I don't know.
I'll take that all day long.
Yeah.
It's one of those games, player for player, they've got the talent to really harm us. But, we've all watched Man United the last 5 or 6 seasons. They are capable occasionally of turning up and beating anyone 4-0. But more often than not, they kind of disappoint.
Yeah.
So it could be anything. We could beat them quite convincingly as realistically as them beating us convincingly. So really no nerves at all.
But that's a good position to be in, I think, isn't it? You've got You've got, I think, your first 4 games are basically away games against like the original Big Six, right? So you're going to be feeling like that a lot over these next few weeks. Sort of nothing to lose.
A draw would be great.
Yeah.
Because our like you just said, the start to our season is so packed full of the Big Six that whatever points we can come out of that with is brilliant. And then and then hopefully hit a run as the fixtures get easier. Yeah. So if we can get a draw at Old Trafford, again, does that sound negative? I don't know. If we can get a draw, if we can get a draw at Old Trafford, then I'll be so happy with that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I think that's fair. I think this is going to be an interesting one. Actually, I do think that you. I keep saying it about the first goal, but if you guys score first, I think that's. You could really see potentially United's heads dropping just because their confidence is going to be quite low anyway, isn't it?
Yeah.
So if you guys score first, and then that's set up so perfectly for you then to play on the break, utilise that pace that you've got.
Yeah, that would be perfect. And also, as much as I like Martinez, their centre back, I think he's like tenacious and a really decent player. Awoniyi, the size of him, right, compared to Martinez, I can't help but fancy Awoniyi, like just to knock him about.
Yeah,
So
that's true.
My prediction is it's probably not going to be a great game to watch, but I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, yeah. No, it should be good. Yeah. Anything else that you wanted to sort of mention in regards to the game? So I see here that says that you got a bit of an injury worry over Aina and Felipe, especially as well.
That's nothing new. Felipe he hasn't started yet this season. Apparently he's training. Aina, he's in my fantasy team. And I've kept him in because I think Steve Cooper can be a bit cryptic in his press conferences. And yeah, the one thing I'd like to see is Aina back in the team because I think Nico Williams. Oh, I'm going to be really harsh, but he's just not quite at the level. I don't think.
Okay.
Not quite there.
Yeah.
And please don't dig any deeper than that. Like,
Yeah. Do you think is it more his because he was playing getting quite a lot of game time for Liverpool, wasn't he, a couple of seasons ago? Is it almost his kind of like I guess his name and his reputation almost that's keeping him in the Premier League now? Do you think he's not potentially not a Premier League standard player?
he's not a bad player. He works really hard. He gets in the way. He's sometimes a bit of a rabbit in headlights. Lacks a bit of composure at times. I think when he was getting the games for Liverpool, they were flying, and they would often have 75, 80% possession. So you could argue that any old, I was going to swear then, any old bugger could have filled in at fullback for Liverpool when they were in that sort of vein of form, sort of 2020, 21. I'm being really harsh. I just feel like the fullback positions are so important for Forest in the way we play counter-attacking football. Aina is known to be really, really creative going forward, a bit like Aurier with his crossing as well. So I'm hoping Aina gets a start against Man United. It just depends how bad that injury was. They just said he picked up a little knock. He didn't get time against Sheffield United, but I'm just hoping for my fantasy team and for our performance against Man United that he gets a start over Nico Williams. Yeah.
Have you got him in your fantasy team, mate? Just because you think to yourself you need to have at least one Forest player.
No, I brought him in because his injury wasn't announced pre-Sheffield United. So I brought him in because I didn't think we would concede against Sheffield United, and I thought I kind of knew that I predicted that we would be pushing down the wings, and it turns out Aurier got 2 assists on the other side.
Yeah.
So I almost pulled a tactical masterstroke by putting Aina in, but as I turned the TV on and noticed he wasn't even in the squad, I thought to myself, well, that's that done. But I've kept him in. I had to pull Stones out because
Me too. Yeah, I did that today.
Yeah.
Did you put a Kanji in?
No, I put Chilwell in.
Oh, okay.
Well, they're playing Luton, and
That's true.
so I doubt they'll concede. But it's Chelsea. Who knows? And he can pop up with an assist and a goal. Yeah,
He can. That's true.
I always find it. This is a huge tangent. I always find it risky putting too many Man City players in because of Pep's rotation. You never know.
Yeah, that's true.
But,
Akanji's been a bit of a stalwart recently, but could change.
I've said that before, mate.
Well, one more thing, just on so because you guys have got quite a few good fullback or quite a few fullback options. So, do you think is it Montiel, the guy you signed? Can he play centre back in a back three or back five, or is he just a fullback?
Not sure. Good question. I think as far as I know, he's a right back.
Okay.
and from what I've heard on other podcasts, I haven't heard many people touting him as a centre back or potential centre back. That won't even be a talking point once Felipe's fit.
Yeah.
And if we sign this Murillo from Brazil, then we've got like 6 centre backs to choose from.
Wow.
We'll have 4 fullbacks on the books. We'll be well equipped. Yeah.
Your squad's changed so much in like what 15 months, right? Since
I feel sorry for you because you're suddenly having to follow Nottingham Forest, which you probably haven't done all your life. At least with Arsenal, like they're such a big club that I've always got half an eye on Arsenal. But try and keep an eye on Forest, mate. It's quite entertaining, actually.
No, I like it, mate. I like having almost like a second team really now, mate. In the Premier League, I like it.
Yeah. No, I've always had a soft spot for Arsenal as well. I just I think the first season I remember growing up was the 95-96 season, and it was the first season Bergkamp, played for you guys, and it was Bergkamp and right up front, and ever since then I've always had a soft spot. I loved Bergkamp, absolutely loved Bergkamp.
Yeah, he was such a good player, wasn't he? Yeah. And luckily managed to see him play live so much, and yeah, he was my granddad's favourite player as well, like of all time, really. My granddad loved him.
Just phenomenal, just such grace, You would hope that Havertz can do something similar. I know they're big shoes to fill, but out of anyone in your current squad, Havertz is the only one that even half resembles Bergkamp's style.
Yeah, I guess so. I think, I just want Havertz to do what Xhaka did last year, let alone what Bergkamp did.
Oh, he won't do what Xhaka did.
Xhaka was phenomenal last year.
No, but he's not the same player as Xhaka.
He's not the same. Yeah,
no,
he's not the same.
Anyway, mate, should we leave it there?
Yeah, sounds good, mate.
Cool. And we'll catch up sort of early next week for some reviews.
Nice. Yeah. Cheers, guys. See you then.
Cheers, guys. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe. And see you soon.
See you soon.
See you soon. Cheers.